Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Hospitality Marketing, show number 509. I am your host, Lauren Gray. Thank you for joining. Um, Excited mainly because I'm going to be airing grievances. It's like Festivus, only in May. The airing of grievances. I saw an article just recently released by Zuckerberg. Actually, it wasn't an article released by Zuckerberg. It was an article about what Zuckerberg was talking about and how Meta is going to be the end all changer of how we do marketing because it's going to upend the entire model. I'll get to that in just a second. So, uh, strangely enough, the show might be relatively brief today simply because this is more of an area of grievance and a perspective of what's actually happening to us right now for marketing in hospitality. For a lot of places, but hospitality is our topic. So, our conversation, our purpose of having the show. So, with that, let me talk about the topic, and that is dawn of the age of autonomous marketing. Now, it's actually a late to the game statement to make that phrase. Excuse me, because we've been slightly doing autonomous marketing for quite a while. And I say that from the context of how we, as entities, hotels, groups of hotels, organizations, rely upon our third party and or our internal teams to basically feed us what we're doing without the knowledge of how it's being done. The old adage of "I just want sausage, I don't want to know how it's made." So, with that, we've already been slightly autonomous in how we handle our marketing. We basically define the results we're looking for: revenue goal, volume to generate revenue, cost associated with generating the revenue, whatever phrasing you want to use it as your KPI. And we tell revenue managers to create the combination necessary, what we have to sell our product for, what amount and categories of who we sell it to, and what occupancies they generate to generate what revenues we're talking about. Um, to our marketers, we tell them go fetch. Tell us where we need to market and tell me how much money that is, and I'll tell you how much money I'm going to give you. Or worse yet, saying I only have this much money. What can I get for business? Those are the three scenarios that we most often look under for how we designate how we do marketing. We don't know always how it's done. We don't know how to create the ad campaigns, the ad sets, the ad variations, the targeting, the audiences. Those are terms that we are familiar with. And I'm saying this in general terms. There are people that are very fluid in all of this, that are at a role of decision making and can converse with this at a very direct level with the resources that they have doing it. But they are the exception, not the standard. Very, very often, almost all of the time, the people that are making those decisions do not understand. They have a gap of understanding as to how it's actually done. So, in a way, we have been slightly semi autonomous already in the sense of allowing it to, like, here's money, go do it. But now we're faced with a new edition of this. Now, we have been dealing with a current addition to half of the conversation. Larry Page, Sergey, well, they don't directly do it anymore, but they were the starters of all this with Google advertisement, the purpose of defining better ways of indexing and identifying websites and the cost associated with getting in front of those people as a monetization model. We deal with that. But Google has had, and we have discussed it at great length on occasion, PMax, and Travel Max, which is basically Google's version of saying, since it's entirely all of our ecosystem, our platform, and since we are the ones that built it and run it and know how it works and how it runs because it's ours, it's best that you just give us your money and tell us what you want from giving us your money, and we're going to make and do everything we need. And we're going to put you in every aspect of our ecosystem to make money for you, whether it's our YouTube, whether it's our ad campaigns, whether it's our rich media, organic, whatever. But this is where it's kind of been shortfall in some sense. They still needed us to give them some aspects of what they needed to facilitate. Yes, they could scrape our website and pull out information, but most of the time it wasn't very accurate and oftentimes misleading. Yes, they could rip images off of our website or our photos that we have that are tagged towards us and meta tagging. But most of the time, they couldn't really get a perfect fit because they only would use what they were made available for. The images we provide them are the images they discovered in their own system that Google could find. And as impressive as it was, they would write content, and the content would be not as sensitive or not as human or not as in voice that we wanted it to be, that we would be doing for ourselves. So there was gaps and stutters and stops. And out of all of it is a continued evolution of how it's been going and how it's been building, getting better at it. We've pointed out many times on the show the terribleness of how making Google go fetch your ads by just telling them I want more revenue, that they would end up finding a link that may not be for you, but spend your money on it to do it simply because the algorithm didn't understand that it wasn't you, even though the algorithm was talking about you, and it started selling your business to another entity with maybe your brand name or something that didn't benefit you. It sold them because they were better resultants than you. And we've had those discussions, especially with multi-branding and the fall downs of PMAX, where you have multiple units and another unit that has similar brand name as you would all of a sudden be used in your marketing campaigns that you're spending for, because it was a better resultant for them to go fetch the revenue that it thought it was making for you. So we pointed those out before. But going back to the reason why we're bringing it up in today's topic, it was because Zuckerberg came up a week ago and said, hey guys, we have the ultimate solution for you, which it really isn't. It's the same as what Google's been trying to do. But with their new AI launch, which is where the context of this announcement came from. And I use their Meta AI. I have the Meta glasses, which have been phenomenal for our traveling here in the Netherlands and so forth. And it's just another, Lambda. It's another version of AI, a system of AI. But now that there's new Meta AI out there, now Mark is saying that, lo and behold, you no longer have to worry about making the sausage. We can make the sausage. All you need to do is literally give us your money. Sounds very Google-esque, right? Well, it's now Meta-esque, same rationale. Give us your money, and we know what to do, with the new added benefit of we will make what we need. In his context, he says, rather than having to rely upon you to give us the content we need or the images that we need, we can make them ourselves. We just need, tell us who it is you'd like to sell to, or tell us what you want to sell, or tell us what it is by selling what you want. These kind of criteria, how much money you want to make or whatever. And we will build what we need. We will artificially create the images, the videos, the content, everything, whether you actually have it or not. So because of that, you now don't need to worry about making your own images as much, or making your own videos as much, or being able to write your own content, or have your own content made, or rely upon what you have on your website only, and it may not be enough. But now you don't need to have the limitations that we've been experiencing with Google, where with their PMAX campaign that you have to provide them images, you have to provide them content and what have you. Now all of a sudden, this can be made for you. They will make your brand for you. They will make it in the message that is most relevant to what you're saying you're selling. They will make it in the way that is most sellable. They will use the images and create what it is that they need via AI. Or as Zuckerberg likes to say, if we make it an infinite amount of variations to sell to the variety of people that we're selling to based on what your product is, we'll find the exact match. It's kind of like how many monkeys in a room does it take to make a nuclear bomb if you have an unlimited amount of time? Same mentality. It's like, if you have infinite options and infinite creativities and an infinite amount of ways to approach an infinite amount of number of people, how long would it take before the perfect campaign comes out of it? All you have to do is give them money. So truly, in that sense of that statement, comes my trade of the dawn of the age of autonomous marketing, because now we have the two, or probably of the two largest entities of advertising digitally, both saying the same thing. Give us your money. Tell us what you want us to have the money do for you, make more money. And we will do whatever it takes to produce that from our products. Whether now, in the case of Meta, we'll actually create what your product is, what your product should be to the people that would be interested in buying it. If this is a bullet riddled hold with eyebrow raising, holy geez, what does that mean? Because now, if you have a product that's a box and you tell Meta, hey, I want to sell this box, Meta might make your box do things that your box doesn't do just to sell it. That's what I would think would be the biggest worry, is how real of the product fulfillment is going to match the vision of what this marketing does for you. If in fact you no longer have to worry about giving them real content, real images, real specifics and instead simply say this is what it is and let them figure out how to sell it, then what are they selling? They might paint it different colors. They might make it do things it doesn't do just because that's what it takes to sell it to an entity or to people that they discover might buy it if it did do that. That's the worry, is that we just now creating both ends of the conversation to solve the method of you making more money. What are we going to get? We might get it in the middle. Go, oh, finally, that super magical box that does everything, washes dishes, cleans clothes, and everything. You open up, it's just a cardboard box. It doesn't fulfill. And now who are they mad at? You, not Zuckerberg for having sold it to them, not any of that. It's you who produced the box that they bought it from that ended up not doing what they thought they bought. That's what I'm worried about. Translate that into hospitality, offering services we don't have, rooms that don't look like that, amenities that don't exist the way that they present it, specials and offers and what have you. Because now what would be the next step? Well, why not have AI control your pricing of what it is that you're doing for your rooms? If I can sell a room for $150, let the system control my PMS system to make rooms for $150. The connectivity reality could be there. That's not far-fetched. It's actually in active discussions as to how can our marketing be more intertwined with our revenue strategy dynamically, so that one influences the other perpetually. So as if people are buying during peak periods versus low periods, they get different prices, just like airlines. You're doing peak demand, price strategy is higher. Low demand, low strategy is higher. Okay? Those methodologies have long since been desired to be put together. Just talk to the companies that are in the middle of this process of trying to integrate revenue management strategy with dynamic rate pricing. Dynamic rates where you buy a room and maybe if you get food or restaurant reservations, it changes the adjustment on the room price. That's been the holy grail for a long time. This ability to dynamically influence prices collaboratively, the more you integrate and combine things that you're offering so that there's a unique pricing model for the individual user. Individual pricing, individual user based on individual experience. It's a holy grail and would love for it to be a reality in our world to be able to have that kind of dynamic relationship with the guest, but not at the expense where it is self-created by the marketing that drove that person to collaborate with us. And the marketing has to fulfill what is offered by changing what it is that we're selling it for. I see that beginning a whole fraught, slippery slope of problems that can come out of that. So that's been my trade for the day. The show that I really want to focus on is like, it draws me great concerns for, because as I'm looking at how this autonomous functionality of marketing would exist on two of the largest platforms of, don't worry, we'll create whatever we need to sell whatever it is you want us to sell. The limitations, how do you define limitations? Would it take as much time to define the parameters of what you can't be? Kind of like what you have to do with PMAX, where you have to negative keyword it so much that it puts a genie in the bottle, that you have to confine the budget so much that it doesn't overspend and exploit based on an avenue of growth of an audience, but without growth of conversion that it tends to do. You know, do you have to spend so much time putting fences around it? It would have been easier just to build the campaigns for it. Don't know, because honestly, the vision isn't real for metasearch yet. The only working one that we can look at is Google, and these are the issues with Google already. So is Meta going to have the same issues, or with their AI infusion and the ability to create from that AI whatever is necessary for the campaign structure without your involvement? Is there an approval process that we have to go through that says that looks like what I want? I pick out of these choices what I think is the best one. Don't know if that's what Meta's going to offer, or Meta's going to handle it from the autonomous black box mentality like Google that says, don't worry about anything, just give us your money. We'll handle all the the magic in behind the curtain. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain kind of mentality. We'll do all of that stuff for you. We're not going to tell you how we're going to do it. We're just going to produce those results for you. Don't know which way it's going to go. To me, the smarter version of Meta would be that they would actually go and create something that would involve us to quantify the accuracy of what's being created so that we don't mislead the potential guest with something that we don't offer just because it's marketable to offer it. It's the biggest issue I worry about. Well, again, the trade is there. I just want to make sure I want to hit this topic. I don't mean to be overly brief about the show. It just was one of those things I didn't want to miss the opportunity to discuss it. I don't think it's a beating the dead horse for an hour, going over and over and over with it, with examples of things to be worried about or cautionary tales or whatever have you. I think all of that is in the context of what is potentially being offered, especially since it hasn't truly been released yet. We, again, only have Google to refer to as to what it can and cannot do. So those things to think down about. But anyways, again, don't want to diverge on some tangents of what ifs and what have yous. I just want to be able to hit that topic and make people think that this is what we're on the brink of, and to consider the impact of what it could be if it's allowed to be the way it's been presented. As always, thank you everyone for watching us on our TV channel, the Hospitality Channel, on your Roku, Google, Amazon, Apple TV systems. For those watching us simulcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, thank you so much for that. We recast always 11:30 a.m. London time for our EU friends, which on Wednesdays, which is what I'm in the timetables of, but also 11:30 Sydney time for our APAC friends. And always Hospitality radio station. We always simulcast on it, and also replays are on that, hospitalitychannel.tv. If you want to get into a peer discussion, if you're a hospitality marketer, you want to get in a peer group, hospitalitymarketing.club. Join us there. Active in discussions on these kind of topics. It's kind of a source of the origin of the angst of this show was it came out of this conversation from what Zuckerberg said. Came in those dialogues. So those are all aspects of opportunities for you, should you want to. Until next week's next show, 510, my name is Lauren Gray. I thank you for the privilege of your time and look forward to talking to you all next week.